We are Southeastern 16. I'm Chase Robinson. That is Chris Lee as we inch ourselves closer to the 2024 SEC football season. Today, we're going to talk about the key to Arkansas football overachieving in 2024. So we'll dive into that. But first, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football, from the preseason NFL to college kicking off. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. Think you know your stuff? Get in on a winner-take-all $300,000 NFL survivor pool for the upcoming season. When the game's over, you can go to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker or one of the over 150 slots games. Head over to the website today, use promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, and get in on the action. That is promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V. Bet online, the game starts here. It is a new year for the Arkansas Razorbacks, and they are looking to get back winning, get back into a bowl game. Another year with Sam Pittman leading the charge. New coordinator in Bobby Petrino coming. New players all over the field. But I feel like as we were discussing this and thinking about Arkansas football in 2024, a key for the Razorbacks to overachieve, I think, has to do with Bobby Petrino leading the offense, Chris, and getting Arkansas back and seeing this Bobby Petrino offense kind of like we know it. Great numbers when he was at Arkansas the first time as a head coach. He comes back now to lead the offense, and I think that's where it starts is him getting the offense back to the way it was.
Yeah, and you mentioned the name. It's Bobby Petrino. It's those offenses have got to be like the old Bobby Petrino offenses, or at least approaching it. That's one part. And you look back at the numbers, they were in the mid-30s a game. In some of his better years, they were top 20, top 10, even some years top 5 in total offense, scoring offense, passing offense usually led that. So I think that's one thing. And the other reason I think they need to be there, I'm not saying their defense is bad, but it's not elite. And you look at some of these teams they're playing. Oklahoma State's usually pretty good on offense. Tennessee, certainly an offensive juggernaut most years. LSU can put up points. Ole Miss is going to put up a ton of points. Texas is going to put up a lot of points. Missouri is going to put up a lot of points. So they're going to have to get into shootouts with these teams. And so that's why I say you're going to need to get that scoring offense number up there in that mid-30s. And we'll talk about maybe how they can do it. But I think realistically, it's going to take something approaching that for Arkansas to get back to that level.
Yeah, and there's a good quarterback that I feel like fits the system well, and that's Talon Green, transferred to Arkansas from Boise State. He had over 1,700 yards last year, averaged a little over 8 per time and per throw, and 121 for 212 was his numbers. He ran the ball some as well, had around 436 yards rushing as well. So I feel like this is a quarterback that fits what Bobby Petrino is trying to do at Arkansas.
Yeah, and the passing yard total, 1,752, that's not super impressive, but 8.3 per throw, I think that'll work. You might want it a little bit higher. He does run, as we've noted. That's good for converting third downs, but you look at the weapons around him, and they've got some decent guys there. Andrew Armstrong had a really nice season last year. They've got several other receivers who are coming back. But I think one key for them, Luke Haas. I really love Luke Haas, and I put my money where my mouth is. We had a 2-team fantasy draft, and I took Luke Haas as my tight end. He averaged, I think, about 50 yards a game last year when he played. So I think it's going to be a combination of Talon Green and some of the weapons around him. Now, I'll get to some things that also have got to improve, but I think that's where I start my hope, is I think they've got a tough cover and a tight end and some experienced wide receivers around Talon Green that'll help.
Yeah, I think so as well. As far as running backs go, you got Jaquindon Jackson, the transfer from Utah. You got Rashad Dubinian from who's back from a year ago, and a high school guy in Braylon Russell. And so I'm interested to see how they utilize these running backs, especially Jackson, who's coming from Utah.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we didn't talk enough about Jaquindon Jackson in the offseason. I think as depth charts had Dominion listed ahead of them, but yards per carry, Dominion 3.2. Now, their line was not good last year, and that maybe that's something to do with it. But Jackson averaged 4.9 yards per carry at Utah, ran for nearly 800 yards. If Jaquindon Jackson steps up and is a 1,000-yard rusher for them, or even if it's Dominion, I feel like the probability that Arkansas can reach those loftier heights is going to go up a good bit.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then anytime you talk about offense, and I think this is something that Arkansas has to be ready for this year, you're kind of weary of this year, is you got to protect the football. Yes, you've got a good quarterback in Taylon Green, and you got some receivers who've played some good football. But to me, it comes down to they've got to protect the football this year also to have some success.
Yeah, they were +1, or was it -1, I guess, in turnovers last year, 0 the year before. But 2 years ago, 30.9 points a game, they were +6 in turnovers. I think that's one place I'm a little worried is Taylon Green last year threw 11 touchdowns and 9 picks. That's a ratio that's going to have to get a lot better for Arkansas to achieve the heights that we're talking about here.
Yeah, for sure. And that goes for the defense as well. And you mentioned those guys a minute ago is they could do their job, of creating some turnovers and putting the ball back in the offense hands. And I think this is going to be have to be a defense that gets the opposing offense off the field and creates some 3 and outs and getting this offense back on the field to do what they need to do.
Well, and one way to prevent turnovers is to not get your quarterback hit. They brought in a new left tackle in Fernando Carmona from San Jose State last year, 12 starts, 765 snaps, only allowed 2 sacks. Sacks. You will definitely take that from your left tackle. They got Patrick Kutas at left guard. He started 9 times a year ago. They added Addison Nichols, who played in all 12 games, or I guess 12 of Tennessee's 13 games last year. He's their center. He's now at right guard. Probably their most known guy, Josh Braun, 12 games, 12 starts, 790 snaps a year ago, and was second team all-league, I think, by the AP. And then right tackle, where I presume it's going to be Tykees Crawford. He and Keyshawn Blackstock were locked in a battle for that job, but Blackstock had some interesting circumstantial stuff with NIL or whatever it was. I hadn't checked on that in a bit, but I think the key will be protecting him. And they did bring in some guys from the portal along with one of the better guards in the league, and they can all help there.
Yeah, for sure. And they're going to have to be good week in and week out to help this offense do what we think they can and need to do this year. And so our key for Arkansas football overachieving in 2024 is to see this offense under Bobby Petrino back like we know it in the former days of him being the head coach there at Arkansas. We'll have you covered with the Razorbacks and the rest of the SEC all season long. So be sure to subscribe to our channel here at Southeastern 16. Like this video, spread the word about Southeastern 16, and we look forward to keeping you in tune with all things SEC football all season long, as it is game week for SEC football. We also cover basketball and baseball. We have shows for those as well. So check out our channel here at Southeastern 16. For Chris Lee, I'm Chase Robinson, and as always, Southeastern 16 content brought to you by BetOnline.